So, next presentation is a world citizen that is, let's say, connected through a passport with the United States of America, as far as I know. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Jack Dangermond. The vision of the International Year of Global Understanding, our world is increasingly challenging. Mr. Dangermond will be talking about the importance of IYGU and geography, the importance of a spatial perspective and spatial data for global understanding, accompanied by numerous practical examples, which I'm very much looking for. Please welcome Jack Dangermond.
Hi, my name is Jack Dangermond, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you for a couple of minutes about this incredible vision of an International Year of Global Understanding. When Professor Werlin first approached me, I got very excited about this notion. And I suspect, just like all of you here, you personalize the notion of a global year of understanding to your own field. And that's certainly what I did. The purpose of this whole event, actually, or this whole period, is, I think, to raise awareness for learning and thinking and creating solutions for the future. Also, creating relationships between me and you and you and you and all of those sorts of things. It's a very inspiring time, and one that I think we can celebrate actually together. At the same time, our world is increasingly challenged. We know about this: climate change, population growth, overpopulation, resource depletion. These are serious challenges and will be demanding of science and technology. In fact, it will take every bit of science and technology and creative thinking and design thinking to be able to figure out how we can create a sustainable future. My field is built on geography. I like to think of it as the science of our world. It sort of brings together all the other sciences from A to Z, archaeology to zoology, spatializing them and integrating them. In some ways, geography is a contextual language that brings together both content and context for seeing things in new ways. And at least as I've used it, GIS that is, it's been about applying geography to actual problem solving. My good friend Richard Selwyn once said, "Understanding precedes action." And I didn't quite understand what he meant, because immediately I thought understanding should precede action, but sometimes doesn't. But he was quick to change me back to the notion that understanding precedes all action. At some level, we understand before we act. And certainly the role of science and the role of so much of what you do is to contribute to that understanding. This picture actually shows how my work actually contributes to that field in various ways. GIS is a framework, and it's a process for applying science everywhere. It starts by observational science, the collection and processing of data, the modeling and predicting of data, the analytic and interpretation of data. All this is about understanding, and then reporting and applying that understanding to make better decisions. Go this way, not that way. Locate here, not there. Plant here, don't plant there. Decisions that ultimately lead to action. This is kind of a virtuous cycle, the idea of measuring, modeling, analyzing, interpreting, and acting. It's essential to human existence. But at a societal level, GIS is so powerful because it's actually showing up in so many of society's institutions. And people are publishing and sharing their data openly, building a kind of collective geographic information platform for creating a better world. And I would assert that it's becoming essential for many operations, many organizations to actually operate. And at the societal level, as this continues to expand, I think it'll be essential for us to manage the planet. It's helping us be smarter. It's looking at real-time measurement of all types, modeling, analytics, and being smarter. And as we deal with the great challenges of the world, from nation states, natural disasters, terrorism, climate change. These are big issues that not only need to measure things, but create better efficiency in the way that we do things, automate things, so that we operate like a nervous system of the planet. Ultimately, I think it will be a nervous system of the planet. It will enlighten us. These are some examples of how GIS is being used today in various settings. Environmental monitoring and assessment, things like climate change or carbon sequestration or sea level rise. These user examples are all about managing natural resources, forests, water, small scale, large scale. And yet again, these are ones to manage energy, both traditional carbon-based energy, but increasingly we're using these kinds of tools to be able to pick out solar and wind or renewable energy resource locations. People use GIS to manage land resources. Who owns what? Who's responsible for what? Kind of creates a framework for understanding what should be done. In the planning field, urban and regional and landscape planning, GIS is being used everywhere as a kind of language to create the future, looking at alternative scenarios, evaluating the consequences of these scenarios, and then moving forward. In transportation planning, similar thing, whether it's highways or railroads or commuter traffic or not just basic transportation, but optimizing. For example, in post organizations around the world, they're using GIS to create more efficient routes. And businesses, people like FedEx and UPS, are optimizing their routing, saving hundreds of millions of dollars and less gasoline consumption and air pollution as part of it. And in the utility space, this sector is not only managing the asset, but also being able to smartly locate things like smart meters, optimize their coverage, and look at complex problems like vegetation growth and utility locations. This world is also moving into the micro space. Micro, here I mean buildings, campuses, being able to optimize space planning and build smarter cities that are more responsive to what people need and want. And in business, it's almost like business woke up to geography as a framework for making smarter decisions, where to locate, where not to locate, how to optimize supply chains, etc. And in human health, oh my goodness, last year Ebola was stopped because of geography as a frame, being able to understand how to quarantine and locate and allocate hospitals. And this is not true in just one disease, but across all diseases. And the addressing of issues that are social issues like infant mortality or child maltreatment, this science frame, through its visualization and analytic power, is helping make better decisions. It's making the world a safer place, looking at where bad guys are and tracking them, optimizing locations of fire stations and police, and in the whole migration that's occurring from Syria and North Africa to Europe, it's looking at tracking them and rescuing and helping them address where best to locate in the future. And responding to natural disasters, increasingly occurring on the planet. Everything from weather disasters to droughts to earthquakes. It's my sense we are entering a period where science will be more important and where geography and geographic enlightenment is emerging as a kind of language for being able to understand things. The world is waking up to the power of geography and its related sciences to address and create a better future. I really want to thank the participants in this event because I think we are all about awakening everybody up to understanding things more effectively, to move to a planet which is science-driven, a kind of nervous system for our future, where stimulus and response happen more or less automatically. We're more automatically integrating all that we know into how we decide things. Right now, that's the domain of a few companies, organizations, governments who can have access to that information. The power in the future through the web and open data and new kinds of policies for the planet about information sharing and knowledge sharing will mean that understanding is accessible by everyone through devices. Small farmers in Africa can understand where to plant and what's the best product to plant. We can raise up the economy of the world, not just for the elite, but for everyone by normalizing this understanding and building on top of the technology that we see emerging. So I want to again thank Dr. Werland for launching this kind of initiative that raises the awareness of what we're up to here for the entire world. Thank you.